Alright boys, so for this video, I want to talk about the new player experience, starting a new character, maxing, understanding essentially how to play the game, because as a new player, progression is very bad in the beginning of playing. There's a lot of things you need to know, not even about Realm. One, your stats, right? You need to understand what your stats do, what they are, okay? So all this stuff in the dungeons, we need to understand this as a new player. All of these, right, are important to the game. And here's a problem. Deca recently has made measures to fix this, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But originally, the game had no structured progression. You would always have to utilize third-party websites like REALMEYE. I'll throw a link to that in the description, and we can run through that. But I wanted to address structured progression in this game, and they released a new thing. If you press your options button and go to press escape, there's a journal, okay? I recommend all new players, if you are new to this game, you read this. Haven't seen really any actual videos showcasing the journal, but yeah. So the journey begins. You don't really need to know this. Picking a class, they just kind of tell you what the other classes are, the different ones. Exploring the realm is sort of useful. I'll break it down. Spawn is typically beach. Okay, you're gonna spawn in here. This is gonna be low. What I like to call it as a veteran player is lowlands, right? Then you move into Midlands, and then when you move into Midlands, you move into essentially any area around the ganglands, the godlands, is going to be mid-tier Midlands. That's what we like to call it. This is all lowlands pretty much until you get into here, and then you start seeing like Urgles and stuff. That's where, Midlands will start. I recommend, staying in this area until you get to level like probably 10, 11, 12. And you have some okay items. You could probably teleport into the Godlands. Godlands will typically be where the big group of people on the map is. That's where they always are. Or if you're level 20 and there's events spawning, those events are always going to be mostly in the Godlands, unless it's like Cyclops Gods or Ghost Kings. That's where those are going to be. But yeah, so teleporting to the Godlands is this black area. There'll be a bunch of dungeons here. Events will spawn in this, and pretty chillin'. That's all you really need to know about the realm specifically. And then obviously when it closes, it shakes and brings you to Oryx's castle. Everybody pretty much knows that. If you don't know that yet, if you are in a realm and all the events or heroes are killed, the realm will shake and take you to Oryx's castle, where right now you will do 01, 02, most likely if someone opens an incantation. But you'll have to go to the Stone Guardians, kill the Stone Guardians, then you have to go into the Oryx portal, kill Oryx 1. When you go into after you kill Oryx 1, if someone has a wine cellar incantation, they can open that up and open up the wine cellar, which will lead you to Oryx the Mad God 2, and then after Oryx the Mad God 2 dies, you'll pop up 3 different things like little statues or whatever. They will be automatically open if you are playing at the time of making this video, because there's an event going on for Oryx the Mad God 3. It's called Oryx Sanctuary, where you go fight mini boss and then you fight Oryx the Mad God 3. Super hard end game dungeon, harder than Lost Halls for sure. I recommend you go run Lost Halls and get good at doing them before you start going into 03, so you can learn how to dodge, etc. With that, let's go into dungeon diving, right? Oryx's realm is a vast and populated. It doesn't tell you where to get good items, and it's a problem I have with this dungeon diving guide. It doesn't tell you what drops what is the best ones to start out as being a new player. It has a sprite world on here, which drops dexterity, they're very easy to do at level 20 if you have an okay set that you've gotten from an undead layer. Progression, I would recommend going from a UDL, then to a set in a UDL. Don't continue to run them. You can if you want to max your whiz first, but I recommend getting an okay set from UDLs, drinking some whiz, and then go and running sprite worlds. After you run sprite worlds, run snake pits. Snake pits are not up here. This is a puppet master. Run snake pits to get your speed, and then continue doing Oryx, and then you can run other dungeons once you max speed and dex. That way you can run fast and you can deal a bit of damage. Attack is a lot harder to get, and defense is a little harder to get as well. But yeah, and then we can talk about stats here. They tell you what attack, def, speed, dex, bit, and whiz are. It's all explained in here. Defense makes you take less damage, attack makes you do a little more damage, speed makes you run quick, zoom, dex makes you shoot faster, vitality makes you regenerate health quicker, and whiz makes you regenerate mana quicker. They could have dumbed this down and they could have made this UI a lot better, but I'll explain basic shit for you guys. They talk about loot and soul bounding. They talk about white bags, like orange bags. They talk about all that kind of stuff, right? Brown and pink bags can be seen by all players. They explain soul bounding. If you don't know what soul bounding is, if you do a certain amount of damage, you can get a soul bound item, which is bound to your soul. whatever. You know, it's only you can see it. Nobody else can see it. But you have white bags, highest, like, rarest bag. Orange bags are called set tier. They typically drop set tier items. Those are pretty good. They're actually really good. The Ninja ST set is phenomenal. And then pink bags and brown bags are just basic. Everybody can see them. And then they go into talk about untiered items. This is actually not an untiered item. This is a set tier, an ST. Very bad. I don't know why they decided to do that, but that's not a white bag. That's not an untiered item. That's a set tier. And the reason they call it set tier is because you have a bunch of pieces to the set. If you get the whole full set, you get all of these buffs. Does a decent amount of damage, and some are set tiers are a lot better than others. Then they talk about the vault. Vault, you should know if you drop here stuff here, you don't lose it. This is also outdated as well. Deca, please update your journal. Marks and Tinkerer is there's a lot of shit here that you don't need to know as a new player, so I'm not going to go through it all. I'll go through Marks and Tinkerer in the Tinkerer's workshop, which is to the right of the Nexus. When you walk forward, you can go into it and you can talk to this guy, and you can turn in marks that you get from dungeons to essentially turn them in for items and chest, etc., that you can break to get better items. Blacksmith. This is new. This is a UT forge. You can forge untiered items. Oryx the Mad God. There's a little lore behind them. They talk about pets because they heal you. They can do damage. They can do that kind of stuff. Vital combat, guilds, player interaction, exaltations. I recommend reading most of these if you can, if you are a new player. They will help you out tremendously. But here's the thing I need to talk to you about is player progression when it comes to leveling and knowing what to do. I recommend, if you want to be successful in this game, it's called the trickle down pot system is what I call it, okay? So essentially what you do is you make a character, right? This is only if you have multiple character slots. If you only have one character slot, which is an issue in itself, of Deca, please allow people to have more than one fucking character slot, so if they die, they don't lose their entire fucking account. So here's the thing. If you have the luxury of having more than one character slot, I recommend you make one character. Either a wizard, I recommend really highly, because wizard is phenomenal. One of the best classes in the game because of how easy it is to get good items without having to have like rare items, right? There's classes like the ninja that are predominantly only really good when you have untiered sets or rare sets like the fungal ST set that you get from Fungal Cavern. Classes are made by ST sets in this game sometimes. Wizard, you can have all tiered items and you can do a shit ton of damage, get loot, and do all that stuff yourself. So I recommend making a wizard, all right? And then after you make a wizard, make a knight. Knight survivability is very high because they have a lot of high defense. Their max defense is 40, okay? Which is insane. And pot maxing is another thing. So your stats here, when you start leveling, they're going to increase incrementally per level, right? It's RNG. Your roll is dependent on literally just an algorithm. It's not dead set. You'll roll similar. I've had builds with 40 plus HP rolls. I've maxed attack on a knight, rolling him to level 20. Okay, it happens. The leveling system in this game is very interesting. So I recommend you do that. You make a wizard and then a knight because of their survivability and just how good they are without having the need for items like white bag drops and ST drops. You can make a phenomenal knight and a phenomenal wizard with only old tops, which is low-end items, right? Like a sky splitter sword for a knight, right? A mithril shield, an abyssal armor, and a para health is a phenomenal set that'll do mostly, you can do most dungeons with that set, even Oryx 3. So I recommend making a knight, making a wizard, right? Because those two those two classes, you can actually just get very far into the game with those. And for the trickle down system, all you have to do is you start playing on a wizard, right? You get to level 20, boom, you're level 20, right? Once you're level 20, your character will look something like this. This is a pretty max wizard. He's not 8'8", he's 7'8", just not max wisdom. They look fucking sick, bro. But yeah, once you get to level 20, you can start fighting stuff in the Godlands. Godlands is where I just teleported to. And when you're doing that, you can either run random dungeons or run structured dungeons. I recommend running UDLs first to get some good items, and then after you run UDLs, getting sprite worlds done, right? Like once you run UDLs to get you an okay set, like a T4 spell or, you know, a T10 staff or a T9 staff even, then you can start running sprite worlds, maxing your dexterity on a character, max dexterity for wizard, I believe, is like 75. I believe it's 75 dexterity max on a wizard. All of this information about max stats and all that kind of stuff is all found through REALMEYE, a third-party software that tells you all this kind of stuff. It's currently kind of scuffed because Deca is taking a lot of action against bots, not necessarily REALMEYE themselves, but bots, and REALMEYE runs through bots to track player location and stuff like that, and logging player account information like the max stats, etc. And since Deca's cracking down on bots, it's really hard for them to access player information since they're not being directly working with Deca. So run UDLs to get a good set, run Sprite World to max your dexterity, then run Snake Pits, and then trick those excess pots that you get from other dungeons once you max a stat, like this speed, right? I would trickle this speed down onto the other character, not playing on him actively, just playing on this one and maxing this one. Make sure you get that other knight to level 20 first, right? That's a big thing. Get that other knight to level 20 or that other character to level 20, and then trickle the pots down after you max a stat. Because you're going to get pots and you're going to excessively get them. There's no reason to throw them away. Just throw them onto another character and start maxing one passively while you're playing on one. That way, if you die, you have a level 20 character that you can play on that has stats in his tummy, because then he's vibing. So that's my best recommendation to new players. I definitely recommend reading the journal for sure, especially if you don't know anything about the game. The journal will definitely give you some advice on what to do, what the game is, and ultimately it'll actually educate you on the game. This game requires a lot of research, like when it comes to items and that kind of shit, etc. Personally, I have used REALMEYE non-stop to research items and to research what sets do and to research what drops from what. They have a wiki on there. It's like Terraria, guys. You have to research what you're doing, because if you don't, you're not going to know anything about the fucking game. Anybody who plays Terraria knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I highly recommend using the wiki, realmeye.com. I will link it down in the description, and utilizing the trickle down pot system of making 2 characters, maxing one, and then feeding the excess pots down into the other. It's not hard to do it. It's just Deca doesn't tell you how, right? I want to see more people playing this game. I want to see people streaming this game and making content on Realm of the Mad God. I believe this game has so much more to offer than it showcases. So if you guys like what I'm talking about and you find this information helpful, I do stream at twitch.tv/JareTheII. If you have any questions about the trickle down system, if you have any questions about what drops from where and what items are good, or if you need help maxing characters, dude, I give away potions all the time. I'm not going to max you 8-8, but I can help you. We have a community of people called Paper Bag Gang that are here. If you have questions about the game, the Discord will be in the description. So I appreciate you for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, boys.
This is Jare's theme song. He is good streamer, but he's a paper bag.